Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am covering more haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. There are many ways to support the show. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. And you can also check out the merchandise store and find all kinds of shirts and some other items with designs made by friends of the show. Please follow friends of the show, Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on Saturdays when she's able to make it, and Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own, 24/7 online for free. And also, I think I forgot to say, support is never expected, but always appreciated for the show as well. And so, also with these haunted places I talk about, just a quick um, sort of description of how it goes. I will include 2 links or more in every episode description for each location, so you can go check out those links and see some pictures and do more research for yourself if you want to. And I just read a summary of the location. Also, please, if you are interested in these locations and want to learn more, and if you want to go there, please make sure it is currently okay to do that. Information can go out of date. In other words, the information I have may not be accurate now, and I never recommend trespassing for any reason. So make sure if and when you are allowed to go to these places to visit them, um, and that's partly for safety as well as just for respecting people's property and all those things as well, which are important too. So, um, and I will probably mispronounce names and places, and I apologize for that. Um, but yeah, so let's get into this here. I think we have like 5 locations left in Maine. I don't think we'll get to all of them in this show, but we will see. Um, this next one is the Kennebunk Inn, and it's in the town of that same name. Uh, this is a historic inn founded in 1799, known for its rich history and reputed hauntings. The building began as a private residence constructed by Phineas Cole, later passing through several hands before being converted into a hotel in 1928 and eventually adopting the name the Kennebunk Inn in the late 1930s. Over the years, it has undergone renovations and expansions, but much of its period charm and original structure have been preserved. Historical background. Later owned by Benjamin Smith, then by various others, including Dr. Frank Ross, who was noted for his career in obstetrics. Uh, it was purchased by George Baitler in 1926, who transformed it into a hotel called the Tavern, uh, adding a major wing for additional guest accommodations. It adopted the current name, the Kennebunk Inn, in the late 1930s. Throughout over 2 centuries, it has housed notable guests and survive major historical events. Reported hauntings. The inn is known in local lore for its haunted heritage, with the most famous spirit believed to be that of Silas Perkins, a night watchman and clerk who worked at the inn in the mid 20th century and reportedly died on the premises. Paranormal events often attributed to the ghost of Silas Perkins include flying or falling wine glasses, rearranged silverware, and other unexplained movements of objects, especially in the bar and dining areas. Guests and staff have reported odd happenings. Uh, Glasses, as in cups, flying off shelves or trays without cause, uh, silverware and chairs moving by themselves, apparitions or unexplained voices, particularly a, in quotation marks, moaning, if I can say it right, moaning, raspy voice, in quotation marks, and noticeable cold spots. Some claims suggest the hauntings are especially strong in certain rooms, such as room 17. Other theories about the identity of the haunt include mention of a previous owner, Silas Perkins, or even a former clerk named Cyrus. I wonder how much of that is because Silas and Cyrus, they're kind of two similar names. I can see some game of telephone sort of information passing over years from person to person, mishearing things. I'm not saying that's the case exactly, but seems like it's a possibility there. And that's it for that location. So moving on to the next one here. Thank you all for being here. I see you all. Let me just check on chat here real quick because I see more. And yep. Hello, Mike. Hello, Sweets. Thank you for being here. See if and Dawn, I see you there as well. So thank you all for being here. Uh, so this next location is the Jameson Tavern in Freeport, Maine. This is a historic building, famed. I thought it said farmed, which didn't make sense. So but I double checked on that word. Famed for both its rich past and enduring reputation for hauntings. Historical overview. Jameson Tavern was constructed in 1779 by Dr. John Angler Hyde. It's literally Anglier. Excuse me. Predating the formal founding of Freeport and Maine itself, which at the time was part of Massachusetts. The building quickly became a central meeting place in the area and played a significant role in Maine's journey to statehood. Local legend claims that in 1820, on its second floor, representatives of the Joint Commission of Massachusetts and Maine met to sign the final documents granting Maine independence, leading to its title as the birthplace of Maine. However, the Freeport Historical Society notes that direct evidence of the signing having happened here is debated, although a plaque from the Daughters of the American Revolution commemorates the tradition. Over the centuries, the building served various roles: tavern, brothel, morgue, courtroom. That's quite a collection of things there, which adds to its colorful lore. It was first sold to Captain Samuel Jameson in 1801 and operated as a tavern until 1828, after which Richard Codman took over and ran it as Codman's Tavern for nearly 3 decades. Literary figures like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and John Greenleaf Whittier, as well as U.S. President Franklin Pierce, are said to have visited the tavern. The tavern closed permanently in November 2024 due to rising operating costs, with name and legacy moving to a new location under the same ownership. So we're just talking about the original building here, apparently, not the current place with that name. Uh, so that's fascinating. I wonder if it ever is going to be used for anything else or what's going to happen. Anyway, haunting reports. Uh, Jameson Tavern is renowned as one of Maine's most haunted locations, with several recurring paranormal claims. Most notably, many believe the spirit of a young girl, Emily, haunts the tavern. According to local stories, Emily was about 3 years old when she tragically died in a fire on the third floor during the late 19th century. Her ghost has been frequently sighted throughout the tavern for decades, and despite her sad fate, she is described as a happy and benign presence. In addition to Emily, former owner Tom Hinks reported becoming a believer in the supernatural due to many unexplained phenomena after taking over the property in 2013, including a ball rolling down hallways by itself, persistent thumping sounds on walls, and experiences of staff being pinched or having hair pulled by unseen forces. That's not good. At least one staff member uh, claimed that something unseen stopped him in his tracks in the tavern, and others complained of being grabbed or harassed while fetching goods from certain parts of the building. There is also lore surrounding the previous owner, Richard Codman, who is said to have died in the loft above the barn dining room. Some believe Codman's spirit may contribute to the hauntings in the building. Paranormal reputation. The tavern has been featured in paranormal and TV shows, cementing its reputation in the region as one of New England's most haunted sites. Psychic mediums have visited the tavern and confirmed spiritual activity, with reports continuing up to its recent closure. That's where that one ends. I really wonder what they're going to do with that place, because I hope it doesn't ever get torn down or anything like that. But that's just me. Probably a lot of people too. But anyway, so yeah, that's fascinating. And I'm just really curious what it's going to be, if it's going to be anything. Um, the building itself, not, because apparently the name of the tavern itself, the business has moved on to another location, but the original building is still there as of whenever this information uh, is sourced. But anyway, we have a series of This is actually the third inn in a row that I've covered here in this series now. The Lucerne Inn. Wow. Now, I've never heard of this town, but that's pretty ironic in a way. Spelled Dedham. I'm not sure how you say that, because, I mean, obviously the way it looks is Dedham, or Dedham, but I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just really curious about that. But the Lucerne Inn is renowned for both its deep rooted history as a traveler's rest stop and its long standing reputation as a haunted location. Reports of a tragic murder and other deaths and other death and unexplained phenomena within its walls. The main house at the Lucerne Inn was constructed in 1818 by Nathan Phillips, son of Revolutionary War veteran John Phillips, who was granted land in Maine for his service. The property only functioned as a halfway house for weary travelers uh, and stagecoach passengers journeying between Bangor and Ellsworth, serving food and offering accommodations. By the I lost my spot. By the mid 1850s, the Phillips family had expanded its operation, and the building became known as the Lake House, remaining a central landmark in Dedham for over 200 years. In the 1920s, the estate was acquired by New York investor Harold M. Saddlemeyer for an ambitious luxury resort development dubbed Lucerne in Maine. So that's IN, Lucerne in Maine. Though this plan was ultimately undone by financial mismanagement uh, and the onset of the Great Depression. That'll do it. Um, the Lucerne Inn, remodeled in colonial revival style, survived as a hospitality institution and was later listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982 for its architectural and historical significance. Haunting and paranormal reports. The inn's haunted reputation primarily centers around a story involving a character who allegedly discovered his wife in an affair with a guest, uh, murdered them both, and then died himself. Uh, Paranormal claims include doors opening and closing with no one present, faint voices, and the inn's piano playing by itself when the room is unoccupied. Other mysterious occurrences, objects moving, sudden drops in temperature, and televisions turning on and off unexpectedly. Local folklore and archived news confirms uh, the murders and death as a source for many of the ghost stories and haunted accounts told about the Lucerne Inn. Cultural impact and guest experiences. Despite, or perhaps because of, these tales, the Lucerne Inn has remained a popular destination for travelers, history lovers, and paranormal enthusiasts. Uh, Hosting guests, weddings, and this day, this information came out. The inn's combination of scenic views, historic architecture, and notorious stories continues to captivate those interested in both history and the supernatural. So, let's do one more location here. I think we can get through one more. This is, now I'm going to say this name, but it's not the one you're thinking of. This is Fort Knox in Prospect, Maine. This is a historic fortification renowned both for its rich history and for persistent reports of hauntings and paranormal activity. Historical background. Fort Knox was constructed beginning in 1844 to protect the Penobscot, uh, Penobscot River Valley, and the lucrative lumber industry against possible British naval attacks. Following border disputes with British Canada in the aftermath of the American Revolution and the War of 1812. Named after Major General Henry Knox, the first U.S. Secretary of War, the fort is notable for its unique granite architecture, the first such fort in Maine where granite was used exclusively instead of wood and earth. Although it was garrisoned during the Civil War, 1863 to 1866, and briefly during the Spanish-American War, 1898, Fort Knox never saw military action and was never attacked. The fort was decommissioned and declared military surplus in 1923, then became a state historic site after extensive civilian conservation corps restoration in uh, the 1930s and 1940s. Today it is open to the public as a historic site and tourist attraction. Paranormal activity and hauntings. Despite its never having seen battle, Fort Knox has earned a reputation as one of Maine's most haunted locations. Reports from visitors and paranormal investigators include apparitions of Civil War soldiers and ghostly figures seen both inside and outside the fort. The ghost of Ordnance Sergeant Leopold Heggie, who was caretaker from 1887 to 1900, is said to be seen making rounds, closing doors, and his pipe tobacco scent is occasionally detected. The spirit of a workman, who died in the gunpowder explosion during construction circa 1844, is believed to linger following an accident where a laborer sniffed his cigar on a barrel of gunpowder, causing a fatal blast. Wow, okay. Uh, a little girl's spirit reportedly wanders the fort, seeking her mother. The origin of this apparition remains mysterious. So there's more there. I definitely recommend looking into that for yourselves if you want to learn more about it and go from there. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.